Hello, 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 everyone. How are we doing tonight? Just gonna wait for a second here, let people populate the stream. Can everyone hear me good? Hope so. Hope everyone is having a good day too. Wow, hi, nice to see you. GN6, welcome to the stream, bud. Good to see you as well. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started with this. What were we doing last week? We launched our first rocket in RSS for the live stream last week. It was a successful mission. We put a satellite in orbit named after our lovely supporter and Patreon, Mr. Foxy. So we are continuing in RSS this week. We're going to be building a satellite constellation in RSS. So what is that going to look like? Well, we're going to use the same launch vehicle we used last week. I've tweaked this a little bit since then. Just scaled up a couple of parts, but everything is pretty much the same in this launch vehicle as last week. So we've got basically the same, slightly scaled up version of our launch vehicle. I have calibrated it. I've been launching it with this test weight. This test weight is set to 7,000 kilograms, so that is the payload weight that I'm kind of shooting for these satellites. So what's the plan? We're going to we need to build basically a bus and launch that bus into orbit, and then that bus is going to maneuver and deploy satellites. The satellites themselves, I don't intend to have any maneuvering capabilities. There's not going to be any fuel. It'll just be command chip, battery, solar panels, some antennas. We'll get into the nitty gritty of how we want them to look. And then we're going to attach them to this bus. We're going to put the bus in the payload bay here on our rocket, and we're going to send that sucker into orbit and position all of our satellites with a high precision thruster. Get very accurate spacing on all our satellites. Make sure we have good coverage. And yeah, so this is going to be a fun challenge. So launch vehicle is already done and designed. I'm going to go ahead and save this because I did make a couple more edits. So we'll save that. Jacob Daniel, hello. Lawrence Van Hagen, hello. Evan Ben, good to see you all. Welcome to the live stream. Glad to have you here tonight. And let's get started. Let's do a new craft. We're just going to start over with a blank workspace and just a chip. So we'll set that to primary, get that out of the way. So this is our microsatellite as it stands. What do we need to make a microsatellite successful? So we need batteries. And we don't need a lot of battery. Very, very little battery. So that's 51 kilograms. Other way, where is it? There it is. 113 kilograms. That is way, 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 way too heavy. Let's do 0.2. Wait, no. 0.6, 0.6, and then for the thickness, 0.1, 0.6, and 0.6. How heavy does that get us? That is a 63 kilogram battery. That is still too much. Let's do 50 centimeters, I believe. No, 5 centimeters, 50 millimeters. So 5 centimeter thick battery is still probably too big. We can, you know what, let's leave it the same diameter. But let's do a 1 centimeter thick. No, we're going to have to change this. Okay, we're going to change this up. Before we change that, I actually am going to bring the mass of the chip down, because these are going to be pretty dumb computers. I would usually not scale down the chip, except these are going to be pretty much dumb satellites. They're not going to need very much in the way of circuitry at all. So I don't need a ton of computing power, so I don't need a heavy computer on board for like navigation and stuff. So we got a 0.3. How heavy does that leave us? That's 6 kilograms, and that's 4 kilograms. So, okay, 10 kilogram total weight for one satellite there. Actually, no, let's bring the mass scale back up on this. Part scale can stay nice and small. We're going to bring the mass scale up. So we're at 18 kilograms total mass. And how much battery charge does that get us? That gets us 19 megajoules. Could make that a little bit bigger. 4.8 megajoules, 22 kilogram battery. Okay. I think this is a good starting point here for what we're looking at. Let's change the texture. Let's do the panels. That looks good right there. Okay, now we're going to build out the actual structure of our microsatellites. But before we get to that, Mr. Foxy, welcome back to the stream. It's good to see you. I'm doing well. It's been a long week for me, um, and another long week ahead, and then Thanksgiving. I've got some exciting Thanksgiving plans that I'm looking forward to. And Evan Ben asked, "How powerful is my computer?" It's pretty powerful. I'm not going to give out the specs, mostly because I don't know them off the top of my head. But I built it myself, and it's comparable. I use it primarily for gaming and as well as work, and like video editing stuff like this, some 3D modeling. So it can run a lot of stuff pretty well. Like I'm getting 70 frames per second in SimpleRockets 2 right now. So it's good enough. Good enough. It's certainly not top of the line like some PCs I've seen out there. Okay, so we have we're going to use this strut as like the primary structure of our satellite. And I'm actually going to make these a little bigger and position this up a little bit right there. Actually, can I not attach this to the top? It has to be to the bottom. Okay. Well, maybe let's just rotate this around then. 180 degrees. Boom. Now it's on top. So what are we going to do? We're going to add communications equipment and solar panels. So where are we going to attach our solar panels? We could do a hinge rotator. That's going to be a bit of a problem. Hold on. Can we do it that way? Yes. Okay. So that's our hinge rotator. It's 50 kilograms, which is way too big. We do not need a 50 kilogram thing. This is going to be a very small, very lightweight part here. Bring that down to 10 kilogram or 5 kilograms. That didn't scale quite linearly like that. Is it going to be like Starlink? Sure. I mean, it's going to be a batch deployed microsatellite constellation, which is how Starlink is deployed. But I'm not going to do like tons and like I'm not doing 6,000 satellites. I don't. My computer can't handle 6,000 satellites. Okay, so we've got our solar panel on, which we are going to scale this down as well. It does not need to be that wide. We can make it a little longer though. So that's our solar panel. Actually, oh wait, we talked about this in the last live stream. I want to make this very wide, right? Because we've talked about this. I want to make this very wide because the RSS doesn't correct for how far away it is from the sun. And then we'll scale this down to fit the design better. But we'll have a larger part like that. So that's actually going to give us more power output, a more accurate power output, which is one thing that we would be lacking otherwise. Okay, so we have slider 1. Don't want to invert it. This will deploy at as soon as I slide up slider 1, which they're going to all be on slider 1, which is fine. And I want it set up so that when it rotates, the solar panel doesn't get like locked or anything. Should be good. Like that should rotate out. I don't want it to be quite so long though. What we can do, we can scale this down a little bit more. Just in the part scale. Oop, that might have been too far. Okay, that's good. Put that there, so that'll rotate and should rotate that flat with the rest, like flush with the surface here. So that's good. Let's do, I like the advanced pattern, and then let's mirror that hinge right there. Radial symmetry, boom. Okay, so we've got the base of our satellite so far coming along nicely. Let's change up the texture a little bit here. I'm going to do 6 and 6. I'm not digging the grooves. What do you guys think? What should our texture be for our satellite? We could do insulation. Do 3 and 6. 3 and 4. 3 and 1. Like that. There we go. So that kind of looks pretty good. If I did that, though, Oh, can't do that. Gotta do it this way, like that, and then I can reduce this one's radius. That's really rough looking though. There we go. And then pull it down and in like that. And then let's make that circular. Okay, that looks pretty good. We can do the same up top, so I will copy this part. Feel like insulation would look better. Yeah, I think we're going to stick with insulation. I think that's the way to go. May change the color, but I don't mind the silver look right now. We'll put one on top like so. Okay, so we have top and our bottom of the part here. And we'll do the seamless edge to make it look a little nicer. All right, what do we need now? So we've got solar panels. We don't have any. We could put a gyroscope on it. It wouldn't need to be very powerful. This is currently 70 kilograms. We're coming up on our weight limit. Don't want to go much more than 100 kilograms per satellite. I guess we could do like 150. Hold on. I have a calculator nearby me. I have a calculator on my computer. Let's do some quick math. What is 7,000 kilograms? And we want to deploy, let's say we want to deploy 50 satellites. How heavy can each satellite be to have a 7,000 kilogram payload? 140 kilograms, okay. And let's say we want a 500 kilogram bus. And we want 50 satellites. How heavy can our individual? 130. So 130 kilograms is about the max weight. Oh, but that's going to be so many. It's going to be a big bus. Might have to do like 1,000 kilogram bus to make up for 50 satellites. Those are going to be big. So let's say it's 1,000 kilograms, and 50 is too many. We could do 40. So yeah, around 150 kilograms per satellite to make this fit the payload requirements. Okay, so we'll shoot for 150 payloads. Mr. Foxy says he'd switch it to none. Yeah, I could do none, but it just looks too smooth and too plain if I do none. And I do want some texture, but what we'll do is after we have the base texture, we'll add like 2 or 3 different parts that will just totally get rid of the mask. They'll just be decoration parts. And we'll add those to it to kind of break up that texture a little bit, make it look a little nicer. In the meantime, we need a antenna of sorts. Let's do an antenna. We're going to do a piston. That is, holy mackerel, too big. Make it as small as it gets. That's still too big. Well, it's big enough, but it's too heavy. Bring the mass down. Actually, no, leave the mass. 123 kilograms. That's almost perfect for the weight. We need to see how long it can go. Really increase that range. And then we could scoot that in. Do we want to offset it? Like, have it off center a little bit? Like that? Could do it like that. So it's a little off. We could also add 2 of them. I don't know. How should we add this antenna to make it look good? That almost seems like too clunky, you know? Could bring the part scale down. Make it smaller. That doesn't look, that looks better. That's progress. We might keep that. What if we did, oh, hold on. I have to radially symmetry these the hard way. Rotate them vertical and then scoot them in like so, and then do 4-way radial symmetry. What about 3-way? That actually looks okay. What if we did that? So we've got like 3 antenna spikes coming off the end. Little guy right here. We've got our solar panels, which will swing out and deploy. We've got a battery. We've got solar panels. We need gyroscopes, which we can add now. We can add some beacons. Ooh, that's too heavy. Now we're gonna have to scale this mass down a little bit. So we'll scale the mass with it to 55. do 45. 24 kilogram antennas. That's still heavy. 35. Okay. 35%. We're 126 kilograms. Going to add a few more components. We need a camera. We need gyroscopes. Let's start with the gyroscopes. That is too big. Oh my goodness. Scale you down all the way. All right. Now, we could do, I guess we could do one gyroscope right here, right? Like right on top of our satellite. And what amount of power am I getting out of this guy? 2. 2's not a lot, but it's not too bad. We'll do really highly scaled simple texture and then tuck him in like that so he sits in between the 3 right there. That's not too bad. We need a camera, which we will add now. Let's do, where's the camera part? Here it is. Geez, that camera part is huge. These are very small satellites, by the way. Let's increase our field of view to 90 degrees and then make our camera nice and small. Does not need to be that big. Holy cow. Okay, so we've got, whoop, grab the wrong part. There we go. Tuck that in right there. That's good for a spot for the camera. Happy with that. All right, we are getting close to the design for our Mark 1. We'll call it the Mark 1 microsats. Now let's add some more decorative parts. So these are going to be decoration entirely, and they'll have a mass of 0. And we're not going to include them in the drag. That's the other part, to make sure they're not interacting with the physics of the game at all. They have a mass of 0, and they're not included in the drag, so they are just discounted. Let's rotate this guy vertical. And we can tuck him in like that. And have him sit there. We can do 4-way symmetry with him. I guess we could even do 6-way symmetry, but that doesn't look as good. No, we'll do 4-way. Like so, and then let's change the texture as well. This is using grooves. We could do hex texture, and a 4x4 to spread it out. And let's change the color as well. We could do just the white, like the matte white, which is fine. The other thing we could do is I could do a custom gloss gold, like so. Bring the detail down. Make it lighter. Lighter still. That's too light. Maybe right there. So that adds a little bit of color. What do you guys think? Should I change this in any way? Make it more metallic. Let's change the texture again. Panels. Panels doesn't look too bad. We could do the panels like that. Would love your input. What do you guys think? Should we leave that? Change that? Right now, I think right now it's fine. Shiny black. We could do a shiny black. Let's see. This shiny. That's shiny black. That doesn't look too bad. Yeah, we could do a shiny black. I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, is there some sort of color we could add to make this look a little better? Oh, without fucking it up like that. There we go. Add some beacon lights. Yeah, that's right. We're going to add beacon lights, which we should also adjust them so that they blink in like different patterns or stuff. Gold is nice. Okay, so we're between the black and gold. I've got 2 votes for black, though, so I think we'll keep them there. Where are my beacons? Here they are. Way, way too big. These beacon parts are huge. Slightly less smoothness, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. Let's tinker panel this real quick. 35% is good scale. And what's the angle that it's sitting that at? Okay, that's weird. 45? 35? There we go. Beacons. We've got steady. We could do pulse. We could do long blink, short blink, double blink. I like the double blink personally. do 4 double blinking ones like that. It's also, we'll set that, that, and that. So those are all on their own activation groups. Satcam. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, maybe we should go with the gold on this. But if we do the gold, let's maybe crank the detail up on it a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Now that pops a lot more. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. We could give these guys their bases. And then tuck them in. Double blink. Yeah, these are set to double blink. And let's throw one on top. But let's get rid of his base and bring up his scale. And we'll set him to pulse at a half frequency. Okay. I think that's pretty good. Let's take this out to the test stand and see what it looks like before we actually assemble our bus and then put these in orbit. Ah, refreshing. It's worse than I thought. I assume you're talking about the color, Mr. Foxy? Not me, I would hope. That would be a little hurtful. Come on, RSS. Yeah, that's the one downside. RSS really pushes my computer's RAM resources. I need to add another stick of RAM. I've got one in there right now. I've got 3 more slots that I could use. So I really should, because that's what's causing this to slow down right here. Maybe make the main color slightly darker. Yeah, we're just gonna test this on the stand. Before we do anything else, we'll test this on the stand, see how we like it, see how it looks, and then if we are pleased with how it looks, rendered and in the game, then we'll put it on the bus and we'll actually finish making it. You know, get ready to launch the mission proper. But boy, this is taking a minute to load. There we go. Okay. So here we are. We are in game, and this is our teeny tiny little space probe. I think the reason it's blue is because it's reflecting. Yeah, it's blue because it's reflecting. So, which is kind of weird. But here we go. We've got our lights. Let's time warp to nighttime. There we go. Okay. So we can see it maybe a little bit better as it would look in orbit. Oh, come on. Come on, there we go. We're good. We're fine. Activation group 9 and 1. Oh. Okay, so we need to invert that. Let's turn off 9 now. Okay. Make the gold more bright, like lighter, I would assume. Let's time warp to the day. Whoop, overshot. Okay, we can see a little better here. Yeah, I like this overall. Let's edit the colors a little bit, but I think that's a pretty solid design so far. Yeah, we could, teleport up like 300,000 meters. That might do it as well. Give us an actual in-space perspective on it. If the rocket is going to be as tiny as you can, launch it from LC-39C. I will take a look at that. Wait, we need to invert that. That was one thing. We need to retract those initially. That was another thing. And then we wanted to look at the coloration on these, I believe. Because these are all... No, this is using this one? No, it's using this one. That's right. Okay, so we can... increase metallic. Decrease smoothness. I don't want to... Maybe it was good where it was. Let's leave that there. But do a darker one, a darker metal. And then let's go with the gold. Let's bring that a little lighter. That's more brass. That's a little too bright. Hold on, let's back that off. Back that off a little bit. That's good. That's better. More, no more reflective. Wait, Mr. Foxy, where's the comment? Where's the comma in that sentence? Are you saying no more reflective, or are you saying no more reflective? Oh, change the emission. I don't know if we want to do emission. I mean, we could. We could do like a very small emission. That could be good. Oh, while we're at it, color the camera because I hate that blue color. Yeah, all right, 135 kilograms, looking pretty solid. Let's oh, you know what? One other thing we didn't talk about, but we could do. One, I want to move this guy out away from it just like a smidge. Like right there. So it's not touching. That looks better, and then could color that. Let's do the black though. Shiny black there for the base. That looks better. I like how that looks a lot better. Okay. Inverted that. Those are correct. Everything should be correct. Let's do it, and we will do the TP up command like Lauren's suggested, and we will really quickly launch our guy up into space, and we can see how it looks in space. What version of SR2 is this? This is, I believe, the most recent stable release of it. I'm using Real Solar System, which is a non-base game. It's a player-made solar system that you can download off the website. The creator of the solar system is actually in the chat right now, Hypatchion. Very cool dude. Let's TP up to 45. Whoa, we moved really quickly. Okay, so we are in space. Our gyroscopes are powerful enough to move our guy around. That's good. Let's deploy our solar panels. Nice. Deploy those guys. Activate our lights. Should make a launch location orbit. I could, but the teleport command is sufficient for now. Awesome. Let's see how this looks in the light. Let's rotate this around. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good launching off point. I might have, hold on, relaunch. I may already have a, no, I don't, because I updated the system, so I lost my launch point. I did have an orbital launch point for testing stuff, but it's gone now because I had to update this system. Because High Patch came out with a new one yesterday. Bro, my name isn't the name of Eurodos's moon. Yeah. High Patch is your username, as it is in the chat right now. Hypatchion is the moon that got named after you. I do know that. Okay, we're looking good so far. I think it's looking pretty good. I like the pulsing, I like the lights, I like the look. The one thing I think I'm going to change is the insulation isn't crinkly enough, you know? It's not crinkly enough in my mind. So we're going to make it more crinkly. And then we're going to slap the bus together and then build this thing for real. High Patch plus Hyperion. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so we had 1-1. Let's do 3-3. Is that too much? That might have been too much. 3-2. How about 4-2? And 4-2. And 4 and 2. So we're scaling the tiling up on our texture there a little bit. That looks better. Okay. So we're going to save this as ISS microsat. What are our dimensions for this guy? How big is this total? 0.4 by what? How tall is this? You know, let's just slap a Drew in. See how big this is. Oh, this is a teeny tiny baby satellite. That's okay. Drew for scale. This is how big our satellite is. It is quite small, as you can see here, with my Drew astronaut standing next to it. Okay, so we're going to add, let's start with 40 of these things onto a bus, and then we're going to put fuel tanks and control systems on the bus and launch that sucker. So I saved it. I'm going to add that, set that to the primary, and then I'm going to grab this whole thing and create a subassembly ISS microsat. There we go. All right, save that. And then let's load ISS RSS back up. Our launch vehicle for the mission right here. Beautiful towering behemoth of a rocket. And we will begin to design our bus. Okay, so the whole thing will sit there. I want to make sure I've got the right one. I do have the right one. Before I forget, there was something I ran into that I needed to adjust. Okay. Okay, don't worry about that. I just was adjusting a camera. That will be later on. You'll see the effects of that. Oops, didn't mean to do that. There we go. Okay, so we need to design the bus. So what's the bus going to be? It is going to be basically a long fuel tank with a monopropellant engine on the bottom that's going to drive around and drop off all of our lovely little guys here. And it needs to weigh about 1,000 kilograms to be within the mission parameters. So we'll set him to primary, and this is already too much in weight. Hydrazine monopropellant. 1,500. So that's 1,000 right there. Could make it 24. 416 kilograms. That's probably more than I need, honestly. Could scale that down even further because it needs to be nice and long. That's what I'm thinking. Is this needs to be long enough to hold like 40 of these satellites together. So what if we did 0.2 by 0.2 and squared it? 0.2, 0.2. There we go. 0.2. Take all the circular nature out of it. Made this 4 meters long. Okay, so we've got a 4 meter long square basically. And I want to make this command chip significantly smaller. Doesn't need to be lighter. This guy will leave him the same weight. So my logic for the command chips is the command chips on our microsats, they just need enough processing power to relay signals and report their position. You don't need a very powerful computer to do that. Your phone can do that. So you don't need a 20 kilogram computer on these microsats. It's going to weigh like 4 or 5 kilograms when you have all the circuitry and all the radiation shielding on it. Now, with the larger portions of the craft, like this one, it's actually having to do guidance calculations. It's actually having to maneuver. So suddenly it becomes more important that this is more powerful processing because it's doing more advanced things than just reporting its position. So we are going to have a 20 kilogram command chip on it for that one. And I'm going to make sure that this is set to not auto resize before I stick a rocket on it. There we go. Now we're going to use a tiny, and I mean tiny, monopropellant engine for our bus right here. So that is our engine, and it's going to use. Let's look at our performance options here. Auto select fuel type, 864 meters per second. 986, 978, 986 for monomethyl hydrazine. So monomethyl hydrazine looks like our best bet. 986 is pretty good number for our delta V for this bus stage. And we're going to actually need it to be longer. I'm realizing now this is not going to be long enough. Let's go with 8 meters. That is too long. Let's go with 6 meters. That's probably long enough. Now we're going to attach this part to here. So that's where it's going to hold on to the bus. And we'll do just the normal Looks good. Don't need a ton of detachment force on this guy. So the next part, and the part that's really critical, is we need to get our detachers set up right. So we're going to do sideways detachers. And we're going to make them real small because they don't need to be big. %. We'll leave 35%. And let's get it 0 degrees. Okay, so it's lined up. That is our detacher. Are the satellites able to deorbit? No, we're not adding the capability for those right now. That once they are up there, they are dummy satellites. So, which is true of a lot of our satellites, is they, like in the real world, a lot of satellites cannot be deorbited manually. Let's see, ISS, microsat, this guy. Let's see, what's the best way to attach him to our little guy here? Better watch your space debris. Well, right now I'm the only person launching satellites, so we are pretty much devoid of space debris. So that won't be too much of an issue. And if it does get to the point where space debris is actually a issue, I cannot tell you how bad it would have to be at that point. Okay, we'll do that, and we will stick him right there. So he is on the bus right there. And does the side detacher leave the other side? No. It might. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. Like, the way this is positioned, if the side detacher stays on the bus, it's fine. And if it stays on the satellite, it's also fine. Like, it's not going to impact anything. Let's see. Release surface. Yeah, so right now it's going to stay on the satellite, and I'm totally fine with that. We are going to rotate this part around like that. Oop, too far. Go back. Okay. Now I want to get this part here. We're going to do 4-way radial symmetry. Do we have any clipping? Oh my goodness, guys. Let's look at that. I can't even zoom in enough to show you how close, how perfect these fit together right now. Godliness right there. Look at that. I am a professional astronomical engineer, or whatever they call them. I don't know. I'm not an engineer. Actually, I am actually an engineer, but I'm not this kind of engineer. And I just undid everything I tried to do. Shoot. Go back. Revert. There we go. Okay, so we have our satellites on the bus. We've got our fuel on the bus. There's some other control systems we are missing, however. We need gyroscopes. We need batteries. We need a lot of stuff. So let's start with the gyroscopes. Holy cow, those are way too big still. Let's scale them not that far. You know what? I need to go back to the 5-centimeter grid size. Okay, let's stick him on right there. And 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, and 0.25. Okay, so that is our gyroscope. And we will 2-way symmetry that guy. And then I'm going to stick him into the satellite like so. And then we need batteries. Batteries. Let's copy the battery off of our microsats, and we can add him. Just use him. I suppose we could... Ugh, stop it. It's trying to, like, grab things there. There we go. Okay, we got a battery there. Mr. Foxy's worried that the gap is too small and there might be bugs. There might be. If there are, we can deal with them. We'll address them as we need to. But for right now, that looks pretty good for our like equipment here. Let's scoot these in a little bit. Boom. Okay, I actually like how these look. This gives us a nice little like utility section. Let's scoot this down just a smidge. And then we're going to actually, I know I did 4, but we're going to make it 2 again. Because I realized that the weight distribution is going to be super wonky if I tried to leave it like that. So we're going to add the other ones all the way up at the top of the bus. If I can get up there far enough. There we go, 360. Boom. What do you mean? Ah, this is the one thing I just freaking hate about their attachment system. There we go. Okay, fixed it. 360, good. No name, hello, welcome to the live stream. Glad to see you here. And let's tuck this guy. Come on. Just go. Just go. Go. Why are you being such a pain? Why? Stop. 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 There we go. Okay. We're going to translate you into clicks. Stop. Stop. Ah, man. No! Jeez, why does this keep happening? Fuck off. Like, I'm not doing anything different. It just keeps not wanting to click where I want it to go. Okay, 360. Translate tool. Into. No, 2, not. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. Ah, for the love of all things holy, stop. Just freaking stop. Oh my goodness. What on earth is why am I not able to do this? Part connections. All part connections off, only that part. Only you. Only you connect, not the top bits. Okay. Do I need like quick save here before I frick it up again? That's too far, but fine. Whatever. Stop. I don't want to grab that part. Okay, that's as good as it's going to get. I'm not touching that again. Two-way symmetry, it's fine. Moving on. All right, moving on. And yeah, that's good enough. That's close enough. It's fine. We're good. It's fine. Everything's fine. Let's position these satellites and get ready to connect the rest of them. So these guys need to come down to about there. About there. Okay. And then what I need to make sure is I'm going to turn off part connections for that guy and grab him. Turn part connections on for him. So I shouldn't be able to attach it yet. So I can only attach the side disconnectors to the hole here, which is what I want. Now we just need to get the spacing right. So what is the vertical separation? 28.45, 28.95. Let's do 28.5. And then let's do 29. So these are all going to be exactly half-meter separations vertically. 1, 4. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. Let's do the next one. Copy and click. Oh, but okay, so we've got to do this every time. Off. Off. Okay. 270. Oh, 275, just off by a little bit. 270 right there. And then let's position him. The last one was 29, so let's do 295. And four-way symmetry, and move on. Turn off everything but that guy. And turn off everything but that guy. 270. Vertical separation, this should be 30. 4. Boom. Okay, so we have that is 16 CubeSats on the bus so far, and we've got lots of room to add some more. So 16 CubeSats looking good so far. Let's copy the next one. Good. 270. Vertical spacing. This is going to be a little tedious, guys, so I apologize. While I'm working on that, let's talk about what you guys have been up to. If anyone has any projects they've been working on or stuff they want to share, go ahead, throw it in the chat, and I'll read them out as we work on this together. That was 3.1.5. No, 3.1. Yes. All right. Yeah, rip, that was frustrating. Hopefully the gaps won't be too bad on these and we'll get away with it. Let's four-way symmetry. Looking good so far. This might lag my computer though. There's going to be a lot of parts on this guy. Shouldn't be too much of an issue, but ooh, it's going to be a lot of parts. Okay. Part connections. Do it again. Turn them all off, turn them all on, reconnect it. That should be 32. No. 31.5. There we go. Jacob Daniel just completed an infinite flight electric plane for a challenge. Nice. That's pretty sweet. So you use wings with like electric motors on them. I've seen it done before. I've not been able to get like propellers down really well. They're kind of janky the way you have to do them. But that's sweet, dude. Sounds like you had a good challenge with that. Nin with the bin, I've been working on a rocket in RSS that is fully reusable and will bring around 30 tons and can land all over the system. That is extremely ambitious. Congratulations, my guy. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 4 is a number. 8 times 4 is 30. What is it? 32? Yes, 32. So if we add a couple more, is it 32? Why am I like forgetting this? Yeah, no, it's 32. 7 times 4 is 28. 8 times 4 is 32. I can do math. Thank you very much. I'm not totally an idiot. Let's see, 32.5. Yep, that's the right spacing there. 3, 4. Okay, so that brings us up to 36. Copy another one. 270 degrees. 33. 1, 2, 3, 4. That puts us at 38. And you know what we're going to do? To round it out, I'm going to do two-way symmetry, and that'll bring us up to 40 total satellites on our guy. Yeah, High Patch has been working on RSS, unsurprisingly. That would be his project. All right, 270. Perfect. And let's bring him down, I think 33.5. Yes, and then we'll just do two-way symmetry for this guy. Boom. So that is our bus. It is complete, and it is a beefy boy. So how much, what do we have performance-wise? 780 meters per second of delta V. I don't know if that's going to be right. Yep. Flip that around. 31 meters per second of delta V. Okay, so we don't have a ton of fuel on this guy. We can add 500 kilograms more fuel to it. So what are our options? So we could add two 250 kilogram fuel tanks to the top and bottom is one option. What are our other options? We could make this longer. We could make it thicker. Actually, that might be the move. Ooh, but if we make this thicker, then I have to move every satellite out. That's going to be a pain. Should have done some math before I did all this work. Let's see. Let's start by... We can make it slightly longer. Slightly wider. Maybe not. Let's go. Let's do the part resize tool. Okay, what does that buy us, fuel-wise? Almost no difference. Turn off the auto resize because it's going to break every time I breathe or look at my craft. How much does that give us? 47 meters per second. That gives us 10 extra meters per second of delta V for 100 kilograms of fuel. Okay, that's better. You know what? Here's what we'll do. I'm going to pull these guys off. And I'm going to squeeze this guy up to about there. No, I shouldn't have done that, actually. We'll do 5.7. Nope. Said 5.7. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is copy it, shrink it down, put it there, turn off auto resize. Let's make a dedicated fuel tank for this guy. Round off the corners. 1 meter long, and let's do one. Let's just do one for now. That puts us ever so slightly over our weight for our payload, which I'm not a fan of being over our weight limits. That's kind of a hard limit that I set. We're at 7035. Let's reattach these gyroscopes. So 755. Oh, don't fuck with me right now. Is this Jundrew, fix your freaking part attach system. God, I hate everything about this. There we go. This is my biggest complaint right here in the whole game is, and I have to deal with this all the time. What's the total mass of the payload? I'm trying to keep it under 7 tons. We're trying to keep it relatively light here. 40 satellites under 7 tons is kind of a good goal in my mind. Okay, so that is our utilities section. 140 meters per second. That might be enough, honestly. Ooh, that's really close. 7,007 kilogram total payload weight is pretty good. Let's take it down. So that gives us 15 kilograms to work with. I'm going to add a couple of solar panels for it as well. And we're going to do the same trick we did last time. We're going to scale it up and then scale it back down so that we get more power out of it. To compensate for the way Jundrew handles distances to the star. Boom. Okay, so that is our tug. Really boring looking base here. Let's add a little decoration. You know, we've come this far. We've put so much work into it. Let's add a little something to it. We could do a silvered finish for that. That looks good. And then that looks awful. Let's do the hexagon. That's tolerable, I guess. Okay. Also, I want to change the blue that we were using. A little more shiny, a little bit more reflective for the blue, like that. Okay, and then real quick, let's paint these guys as well. Boop, 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 and then change the texture, hexagon. Okay, that is our payload. What's the total mass? 6,996. We are 4 kilograms under our payload minimum, or payload, max payload requirements. Looking good. Let's refix this guy real quick. We'll do the Soyuz style launch. Is that going to fit in the fairing? I think so. Yeah, it fits in the fairing perfectly. It's honestly a little small for the fairing. We can make this fairing. Let's see, that was 5. Let's do 4. 4-meter long fairing. All right, we have our payload. We've got everything checked out there. My one big thing is, are all of our staging totally shot? Yes, they are. Oh god. Okay. Please let my side interstages be at the top or the bottom of that list. They are at the bottom. Okay. Gotta fix this. Even though I expressly told the game not to auto redo the staging, it wanted to do that. Okay. Wow, we got 42 interstages. That's going to be a problem. Did I count wrong? Did I count the number of satellites we're deploying wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Plus 2 is 42. Wow. For some reason okay. Pay no attention to what the math I was doing earlier. We're going to stick with 42 satellites, though, because 42 is literally the answer to everything. That's a perfect number. Totally fine with that number. Fairing base, so that needs to deploy last, is what I know for sure. That deploys the bus. Okay. I think we're good to go on staging. 8,980 meters per second is enough to get us into orbit. We are ready to test this guy out for real. Let's give it a go. Yeah, so speaking of products we're working on, so I put out a video yesterday that was the video on how nuclear rocket engines work. So if you've seen that, awesome. Let me know what you thought. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and take a look at it. I'm actually really pleased with how that one came out. I put a lot of work into it. So if you don't know, my background is in engineering. I am currently working with the Navy right now. I have a degree in nuclear engineering, so like that video was kind of fun for me to do because it's my area of expertise. I actually don't know a ton about rockets. Never studied it outside of just flight sims and playing around with it in video games and YouTube and stuff. But I don't know as much about rockets. I do know a lot about nuclear reactors. So that video was fun to like take my passion and my expertise and put them together. Yeah, so I had a ton of fun with that one. Maybe do another one in the future, doing like a deeper dive, but we'll leave it for now. This is really laggy. This is taxing my computer a bit. So we're gonna go to quality, and we're gonna go down to medium quality. Oh, I didn't want to go full screen. Hold on. Oh no. Oh no. Undo full screen, please. Okay, undo full screen though. Apply. There we go. Is that going to help our performance a little bit? That helped a little bit. This is going to be a lot laggier. Mr. Foxy, have a great night. And thank you for the well wishes with this. We are going to need some good luck here. All right, let's just kick it. Throttle up. Activate stage. Yeah, this is going to be a bit rough. So we are launching. I'm going to go ahead and start my rollover. Everything's looking good though, and I know for a fact we can get this payload into orbit on this craft because we've tested it with the 7. Hey! Now there is sound. There should be sound now. Good catch there, Jacob Daniel. All right, let's get everything situated back up and continue with this launch after such a rude interruption by the software demons. All right, we are still going. Everything is still flying on the game side. We're still good. Apoapsis at 80 kilometers and climbing. We are looking golden. I'm going to go ahead and target prograde on our orbital velocity vector at this point. Yeah, we're just going to coast out. Let it roll. I'm going to speed up time a little bit. Oh, not too much, though, because we need to separate our side boosters. So, our solid rocket boosters are away. They're going to fall back to the ground now. And we are climbing. Everything's looking good. We should be out of the air density. Yep, so I'm going to deploy my fairing. There we see our stack sitting on top of our rocket, looking very pretty. And now that we are outside of the atmosphere, I'm going to pitch to 0 degrees, and we're just going to hold it there. At this point, just need to throttle up and let this sucker roll. Ignite our lower stage. Camera 36 of 44, so here are all of our cameras. Hold on, I wanted to get to that guy. There it is. That was the camera that I was tinkering with earlier, the payload bay camera. And here we go. Look at that. That's quite a view right there. It's quite nice. Let's roll this out. Very nice. All right. Some nice cinematic shots. Bring the UI back. All right, we're still cruising along. I'm going to go ahead and lock prograde again, and we're just going to burn prograde for a while. Maybe even burn north of prograde. This is the long part of this burn, right? Because we have 4,000 meters per second of acceleration to do, basically. So long burn here to get us into orbit. 44 seconds. What's our burn time? Stage burn time, 3 minutes. So, oh, yep, there we go. 46, 47. That's climbing now. That's good. We want it to climb. What's our burn time now? 2 minutes left to burn time. Looking good. 69, 70 seconds of burn time left. We are nominal here. We're going to try and put these in a semi-high orbit. It's still low. Low Earth orbit. Want to shoot for around 450 kilometers on average. So when we see this guy get to about 450, we're going to cut back. That's 440. Oh, overshot just a little bit, but that's okay. We'll leave it prograde. And our periaps is out of the atmosphere, so we are in orbit. Now we just need to circularize. Okay. Throttle up. Very low throttle setting here. That's 450. Perfect. So that is pretty much in orbit. Let's time warp forwards here. Yeah, going from high to medium really kind of sucks with the quality wise, but if that's what it takes to keep this game running, then we'll do it. All right, so everything is nominal. We are in our desired orbit. We just need to deploy our bus, and then we'll use the bus to adjust them. But before we deploy the bus, I actually want to circularize this a little better. Okay, so we are at periapsis right now, and I'm just going to throttle up slightly here. Oh, even that was too far. Shoot, okay. Let's bring it down to 440 kilometers. So we're at 441 right now. Okay. We're going to pulse it. Just throttle up, throttle down. 444, 443, 442. Oh, 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 oh. What are we at? What are we at? Why is my UI verbosity at medium again? I want it high. High. There we go. 441.5. Oh, look at that. 441.5 kilometers apoapsis. 441.4 kilometers periapsis. Quite beautiful. We've got a nice, very circular orbit. And as soon as I deploy my payload, it's going to jack it up. So, with free-floating planets in SR2, I don't know if I 100% understand your question, but I think what you're trying to say is there a system in SR2 with free-floating planets that aren't in orbit of something else? No, there are not. To give you the short answer to that question, because that wouldn't make any sense. And this game is crazy good looking on a decent PC. This isn't even like a crazy beefy PC. It's nice, but it's not, not like the strongest gaming computer you're going to see here. All right, let's get ready to deploy our bus. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. We've got a nice little payload camera. And boom. Separating our payload. Let's watch that drift off into space. Our array of satellites. How lovely. Okay. So we have deployed our payload. Now what we need to do is check to see where our orbit sits, and it is still very circular, which is good. Can I switch to this craft? Yes, perfect. I'm going to point this guy retrograde. And then I'm going to deorbit him with the last bit of his fuel, because I am a good space citizen. No idea where my bus went, but that's fine because we are falling out of orbit. I will just grab it as we separate. Right there. Okay. Let's take control of our bus again. Perfect. So we've deorbited our booster. Everything is back to Earth except for what needs to be in orbit, as it should be. Let's get ready to actually start separating our payloads. As soon as it'll load. This may take a moment, everyone. Just waiting patiently. Waiting very patiently. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Progress. There it is. All right, so we are loaded in. Here is our payload. Why do I only have 16% of my fuel? That's disconcerting. I have 20 meters per second of delta V. Awesome. For some reason, that was burning the whole time. Super not cool. Okay. Let's make the best of this. So, first thing we can do is deploy our first satellite, right? So we're going to go ahead and deploy him right away. And it's this guy. And yeah, that's going to kick our bus way off course. What is the other satellite's orbit going to look like, though, is my question. Let's time warp forwards. No, it wasn't that bad. Okay, so as long as we kick these guys off kind of perpendicular. Got plenty of gyroscope power on this. I just realized that each satellite has a gyroscope on it, so got plenty of gyroscope power. Okay, so we're gonna time warp. I'm just gonna time warp myself around and let it develop a little bit of spacing. Hmm. Actually, you know what? It would be faster. Honestly, it would be faster to burn retrograde. So we have our teeny tiny little engine going. Like a 1 meter per second change in velocity now, which leads to big changes in our orbit. So we'll go one orbit around, I guess 2, 3, 4, 5 orbits, 6 orbits. Let's give it a couple orbits around because this is taking a little bit of time to track away from us. Okay, so here we're gonna come back around here. I have 18 meters per second of fuel left. Okay. That's just not enough to do this mission. Efficiently, at least. One thing we could do, now that I think about it, is we could deploy these all on very slightly different trajectories and then just use the thruster to correct. So if I deploy this guy, right, it's going to shoot the satellite off, and then there's going to be difference in velocities. It'll spin, and then I can reaccelerate my satellite or my launcher, right? Let's quick save. Let's do a little trial here. I'm gonna quick save this. We're gonna try this. Slow down time. Boom. Satellite deployed. Right now, there's some recoil energy associated with that kicked my satellite into a slightly lower orbit, and it put that satellite on a slightly higher orbit. Now when I spin around, I'll come here, point prograde, make a correction burn. Okay. And then let's point the next one. So okay, so we'll repeat this process a couple of times, and then the orbits of each individual satellite should be enough that the total like all the different orbits will be spread out over time. Boom. So another one's gone, and we've already got a decent spread going here. I'm going to lock prograde, and then we will time warp around. Yes, this is working. Okay. So everyone sees what I'm doing here now. Then we'll throttle up. Cancel out our velocity there. And I will point. Can I point radial out? Locked up. I want to point radial out. There we go. I don't know why I was in a surface reference frame. Weird. I want to deploy this guy next. So we'll deploy him. Let me select him. There we go. Just make sure that I'm lined up with our reference. Boom. He's off. Lock prograde. Time warp around. That drops our orbit by 2 kilometers exactly. Throttle up. And you know what? If we actually run out of fuel on our bus because of this, I'm just going to use the MLI. Because that's such a dumb... Like, this mission would have been a success. I don't know why I was burning fuel. I had it staged wrong or something. So we'll cheat if we need to just to get that couple meters per second of maneuvering fuel here. Because that's a silly... That is a silly thing. Okay. Let's rotate this. Line it up. Line it up. Line it up. Boom. Fire it. Lock prograde. And continue our orbit. Look at that. Okay. Throttle up again. Like so. 44.5. Point out. We're going to repeat this. We're just rinsing and repeating here, people. So while I'm doing this very simple and menial task for your entertainment pleasure, yeah, if anyone has any questions to ask, now would be a great time to ask them because I am struggling to think of things to say while I do this. Fire, prograde, orbit. We've got a beautiful system going now. This is working very nicely. Look at those little ducks in a row. All right. Throttle up. Okay. Point out. Let's pick our next guy. Who should go next? We'll let it be this guy here. And fire, prograde, and move. Okay, coming around, coming around, coming around. Almost back to our apoapsis. Right there. Right there. Oh, just overshot. That's fine. Throttle up again. 441.3. Perfect. What are your plans on future missions to the moon if you have any? Yeah, so that's something we could talk about. For the next couple of streams, I would like to continue doing Real Solar System because I'm having a ton of fun with RSS. I really like the challenge that a full-scale system provides, and little challenges like these are really fun to me. So we're doing our microsatellite deployment thing right now, and that's great. But I'd like to be more ambitious. So one thing that I was juggling around in my head was deploying, or not deploying, but redoing a Apollo 13, or not an Apollo 13. Ooh, that's the cursed one. An Apollo 11 mission would be really fun in RSS. So do a like a not a 100% historically accurate, but like all the specs being accurate. All the specs being accurate, a Saturn V rebuild, and then like, trying to do something there. Um, yeah, I've just been trying to come up with like entertaining things that would be fun to do. So if you guys have any input or like ideas for missions that we could do on these live streams, I am super super game to hear what your ideas are. Because I'm looking for ideas right now. Okay, we have our lovely little train of satellites growing and growing. And point radial out. Same biz. Rotate around, line up our next satellite to be fired off. Do an Artemis mission. Yeah, so we could do an Artemis mission. That would end up being a Starship replica. Officially now, an Artemis mission is going to look like a Starship. So I could definitely build a Starship. That could be fun. I think it would also be fun because the other like big thing in space news right now is NASA's looking to privatize space stations. And there's been kind of like some hubbub about different companies looking to start privatized space stations. So I think it'd be cool to build a space station. That could be a lot of fun. You know what this whole system reminds me of those blow up dolls you'd play with as kids, where you'd punch it and it would like come back. SLS launch. Yeah, well, I would do an SLS launch, except the SLS sucks. It's super over budget. The government's bad at doing things when left to their own devices, and the SLS sucks. It's a byproduct of tons of bureaucracy and not much engineering. And you can fight me on that. I don't care. Private options are above and beyond better options for space travel at this point, and everything in the news should be pretty clear about that. Space station would be fun though. Either an Artemis mission or a space station would be fun. So we might do one of those. Okay, so we are coming around, coming around. Yeah, I mean, like the SLS it's cool in that it's huge, right? Like, oh, the SLS is a big rocket, but it doesn't like literally the whole idea behind the SLS is we've got a bunch of rocket parts lying around. Let's try and reuse them. And they did a very bad job of it. and they haven't been able to like do any real tests with it. They've done some static fires with the engines, and that's about it. It's been way over budget. It's way behind schedule. They basically have decided they're not going to use the SLS for Artemis. Um, so yeah, I don't. Oh shoot, I totally missed my window there. So this is going to be a little out. Crap. Okay. You know what? Here, we're going to compensate because we're a little too low in our orbit. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to throttle up all the way. 31. We've got a lot of acceleration we need to do here because I made a mistake. But that's okay. So what we're going to do is keep throttling up. Okay, now I'm going to orbit a couple of times until I fall back on the position I'm supposed to be in, and then we'll launch our next one. Oh, I just realized that these guys are probably in a way higher orbit than my rocket's in, huh? Okay. What's SLS? It's the NASA like government funded competitor to Starship. Uh People don't really talk about it anymore because it's effectively a failed project. It may get a couple of launches, like a couple of real launches in the end, but it was the big thing to talk about for a while until they realized that it was never going to get off the launch pad. And I totally jacked up the sequence here. That's super unfortunate. Okay, so we're going to have to make some corrections. I'm going to burn all my fuel to raise my orbit here because we're way out of band. We're way unsat on this mission right now. And I'm not going to deploy any more satellites until we're fixed. Okay. Is that high enough? That might not. That still is probably not high enough, huh? Ooh, nope. Okay. Here comes the cheat codes. We are out of fuel, and this is a silly enough thing that I'm comfortable using a cheat code for it. I also just jacked that up as well. Go back. There we go. Okay. I'm all over the place right now. Need to raise my apoapsis way up. Keep going, keep going, keep going. We're going to raise it past all the other satellites. Keep going, keep going, keep going. 500, 518, 525. Keep going, 555. Okay, so we are now higher than all of our other satellites' orbits. And we're closing that gap now. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. So let's point retrograde. Go back to our craft here. And now that I'm pointing retrograde, let's pick this node and burn until we're back to 441, and then we will deploy our next one. Yeah, because we jacked that up a bit. That's fine, though. So this is our little monopropellant engine. And as you can tell, teeny tiny exhaust cloud. Barely can even see the exhaust. It's so small. Okay. 441. I'm going to have to make another correction burn. That's fine. Now because we have to raise our periapsis because this engine is so weak. Okay, and then no, too far. Okay. Making a bunch of correction burns because I'm not a real astronaut. And I'm consistently screwing this up because it's too sensitive. Okay, that is our retrograde. Swing around to the dark side. that guy right there. Perfect. Okay. All right, we're back in business. We're back in business. Point radial out. Okay, getting ready to deploy our next satellite here. Who is up? I believe it is this guy. I don't know why it's so wonky. I want to point along. Whoop, whoop. That. Fire. Okay. Another satellite is deployed. We'll make one revolution to allow it to speed up. Raise our orbit again. And we are back in business. We are back in the swing of things here. 441. Good. Lock out. And let's select our next round to go off. Let's do this guy. And we will shoot him now. Perfect. Satisfactory launch. He is going. One orbit later. Raise our orbit back up, and we're continuing on. All right, now that I have done all the thinking that I need to do for the next couple of minutes, let's talk. What do you guys want to see next on the channel? Yeah, so we talked about stuff for the streams, doing a station, and then eventually doing an Artemis build, which would be a ton of fun. And I'm looking forward to those. Those are both great ideas I want to implement. But what do you guys